Really glad you're here. If you haven't already, take just a moment and type your first and last name into that chat box. And that way we can be sure to have a record of your attendance, and you'll get credit at the end of the year for the SWAAAC conversations that you attend. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started. It looks like we have most of the folks who have pre-registered for today's conversation. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Shalane Garcia Harada. She is one of the SWAAAC administrative assistants. She's been with our program, golly, Shalane, what has it been, about 4 or 5 years now?
Yep, almost 5.
And I can't even begin to say how invaluable she has become to our program. She really keeps all the wheels turning and all the pieces in place. And she's incredibly knowledgeable at this point when it comes to our assistive technology loan library. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn it over to her.
All right, thank you. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. And this is the web conference of the Assistive Technology Loan Library. So we'll just go ahead and jump right in. So what is the Loan Library? The Loan Library is an assistive technology library that is funded by the Colorado Department of Education. And it's a library of technology for use in classrooms around the state. And it's primarily for students with disabilities, but it could be for any students that you're working with. And just a brief overview that we're just going to kind of go through the process of what the Loan Library has, the process of requesting and checking out equipment, how to get access to it, and then if you have any issues, and also how to use the online system, Alexandria. And at any time, if you have any questions, feel free to send it in the chat. Okay, so the Loan Library also not only serves students in public schools, but we also serve early intervention consultants, so consultants who work with CCBs, and those are kids usually from ages birth to 3, and they can also check out equipment. So we have about 2,000 devices in the Loan Library. There's a lot. So these are just some of the different categories that we have. We have AAC, curriculum, adapted mice and keyboards, lots of different books and resources, including assessments. We have cognitive and behavioral supports, educational assistive technology, aids for daily living, literacy supports, mobile devices such as tablets and phones, iPads, and accessories to go with those, mounts, positioning supports, all sorts of sensory supports, different software, switches, and of course, toys. So anybody can view our online Alexandria system using this link, or it's swac.goalexandria.com. So this Loan Library catalog displays all of the devices and resources that we have available. And again, it's available for anyone to view. So teachers, parents, and anyone in the public can browse this catalog to view the equipment that we have available. And then if someone's interested, they can contact their district team coordinator or their early intervention consultant to request that equipment. Only team coordinators or certain designated EI providers can place holds on those items. So these two groups are able to request, borrow, share, and distribute the equipment for infants, toddlers, and students K through 12 in the public school system. The online library can also be accessed through the Tech for Tykes, which is our early intervention website. So, what is the purpose of our loan library? Well, our main purpose is so that people can trial these different equipment before they decide to buy it. So, in doing this, the providers and the parents are able to trial equipment before anything is purchased and can help you make a decision. It also allows you to make an informed decision as whether that technology will be a good match for the individual. Increased interaction with AT equipment from the loan library can also help SWAAAC team members and early intervention consultants become more proficient with AT devices in order to better serve the children that they work with. Unfortunately, the loan library is not intended for long-term loans. Our typical loan period is 6 weeks, so we give you 1 week for transportation to 4 weeks for trial, and then 1 week for the return. So, what if you don't see what you're looking for? Let us know. We're always open to making purchases or researching or feature matching, anything that you need help with or that you aren't really finding. Sometimes we can find it might be under a different name, you just never know. And also, we'd like to keep up with the technology, so if you find something new, please let us know, because we like to have that available for you to trial and check out as well. Sometimes we do experience a wait list, and that also influences our purchasing decisions. So if you see something that may not be there, or it may be checked out and it's not available, still place a hold on it or express your interest in that. And we'll get into that process a little bit later. So, how to get started? Few things just logistically to cover is that every SWAAAC team coordinator has to sign an agreement, as well as their special education director. We're not asking you to memorize these policies, but just keep it on hand to know your responsibilities when checking out this equipment. So just some things to think about when you borrow this equipment is to take care of it like it's your own. Sometimes this equipment can be really expensive, or requires maintenance, or it can be really sensitive or fragile. So we know that sometimes things happen, which is fine, but just try to be as careful with it as you can. And then finally, the really important piece is, upon returning the device, is to make sure that you're returning it on time, first of all. Second of all, make sure that the contents are all included. And then third of all, if there were any problems with the device, please let us know. In every box, we provide a green slip that you can write down any issues that occurred with that device. Okay, so once that team coordinator gets their agreement signed, we give them a login for Alexandria. And new this past year is loan library delegates. Those are other people on the AT team that the team coordinator or the special education director has given permission to also check out equipment. Those delegates also need to sign the agreement. But once you do that, we email you with some general getting started tips and as your login. So to transport these items, we use the Colorado Library Courier service. And just so you know that we are not the courier service. Many people get us confused and think that we are in charge of that, but unfortunately we're not. We are just a patron of the courier, just as any other library or as your courier stop. So before you request anything, we do help you set that up and make sure that you can receive and send back the equipment that you're checking out. If you are in the metro area, you can also come and pick up the equipment at our office in downtown. We are on the Auraria campus, and we're here 8 to 5 Monday through Friday with the exclusion of holidays. And if you can't access our office, we're more than happy to help you find some solutions to get that courier set up. Sometimes we do work with local public libraries that you establish a relationship with and make sure that you can send and receive items there. And if you're ever wondering, you can use the Courier website to look up your courier stop or your courier code or our courier code. And you can also look up the participating libraries to see if there are any near you or if your district actually has a courier stop. But again, just to reiterate, you do have to communicate with them the kind of things that you'll be receiving, namely boxes, because these libraries are used to really receiving books. So it is a little bit unusual for them, and we just like to make sure that they're aware of that before any of that happens. So if your district does not have a courier stop, please contact us and we will help you find some options. Right now, the cost of a courier stop at your district is about $800 a year for 3 days, for 3 pickups per week. So they'll pick up on 3 different days. There is also an option to set up a community stop, which is you pay a little bit of money to share the courier stop with an already existing stop at a library.
Hey, Shalane.
Yeah.
You mind if I just jump in really quick?
Oops. No, go ahead.
With regard to public libraries, I just want to elaborate a little bit. The libraries pay themselves for their courier service. And so it really isn't their obligation to work with us. And so when we talk about community stops and or using a public library, we need to be careful that we don't expect anything from them really. They're under no obligation. So it's really about building a relationship, knowing the person that's in there, and making an explanation as to why you're looking to use that library. And then keep your fingers crossed, maybe bring some chocolate with you, and hopefully they'll be willing to work with you. But I just want to make sure that everybody knows that the public libraries really aren't under any obligation to work with us. It's something that they pay for, and if they work with us, they're really just doing us a favor. So just to make sure that everybody understands that relationship.
Thanks.
Oh, and also, since I'm talking, if you haven't already, put your name, your first and last name into the chat window. If you would go ahead and just type that up really quick, that way we have a record of your attendance.
Thank you. Yeah, so just kind of to go off that, we do always make sure that you've established that relationship and have gotten their permission and everything before we do start sending items to that courier stop. Sometimes they will say no, and if that is the case, just let us know and we're happy to try to find some other options for you. All right. So now we're going to jump into how to use the loan library. So just to reiterate, the first 3 steps are signing and returning the team agreement, receiving your login information, and then making arrangements to pick up the equipment or receive it at a courier stop. And as it says, if you've answered yes to all of those steps, then you are ready to start borrowing. So there are quite a few different ways to access the loan library. The first way is on our website, which is SWAAAC.com. If you hover over the loan library tab and you click on SWAAAC Loan Library, that will take you directly to the Alexandria catalog. Or if you click on the top level loan library page, we have this link here that says access the loan library catalog. That's just one of the few ways to get there. We also have this direct link, which is swaac.goalexandria.com. And when you get there, this is what that main front page looks like. And we'll just briefly go over what all these kind of different buttons do. So the search lets anyone search for items. A team coordinator, a parent, a teacher, anybody can click on that and search for items that we have available. The Scout is another search. It's not as in-depth. It's just kind of a quick search. It doesn't bring up as many results, but that is there for a quick search. Explore. This is a really fun feature that is really great. It allows you to explore different categories of devices. So if you click on it, it actually has a breakdown of different devices of those categories that we saw earlier, AAC, computer access, things like that, and go more in depth so you can get an idea of what we have. The bulletins is just like a bulletin board. It's kind of our announcements, and there we post our events coming up and any new items that we've added to the loan library. And you can also find another version of this PowerPoint on there to go through. So if you're just having some questions or just wanted to look at it real quick, you can find it there. The item request survey is really important. That's the second step to requesting items from the loan library. And we have it right there on the front page for your convenience. So it could just take you right to the survey. Your items due date is for team coordinators and they will have to log in. And this lets them check their account information, including the items you have out and their due date. You can also change your password or any other account information in that tab as well. The new item slideshow is a slideshow of new items that have been added. This is an automatically generated thing. So you can go in there and anything that we've just recently added will appear right in there. And then that assisted search request will take you to a survey that it's for if you don't really know what you're looking for, you have something in mind, you have some features, or you're just thinking of a single kiddo, you just go there, fill out a little bit of information, and we can help you find something to meet your needs. So searching for items. After you click on that search button, you get directed to a page like this. Team coordinators or delegates can click on the login at the top to log in, or anybody can type in that search box and search for any items in there. Sometimes if nothing comes up, if you put it as one word, maybe try it as two, or maybe spell it a different way. Sometimes it's a little picky, but we do recommend kind of spending the time to get familiar with it and also just to browse around.
Shalane, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So what if I'm browsing around and I'm searching and I'm using different terms and I still can't find what it is I'm looking for? What should I do?
Well, you have two options. You can either go back to this assisted search request, or you can email us, and we're more than happy to try to find what you're looking for. And so this is what your screen looks like after you've searched for an item. So you can see here, I've just typed in mount, and the first thing that comes up is that RAM mount. And we have all sorts of different options here. Also, do note that some of these features are only available if you are logged in, so only for team coordinators or delegates. So the filter over here on the left allows you to filter, and we use genre and medium to kind of categorize our devices. Now, these aren't your typical library, genre, and medium. That's just the terminology that our system uses because it is a library software. But we have our own genres and mediums, and you can go in there and filter by the ones we already have in there. So that AAC, computer access, software, mobile devices, there's all sorts of filters in there to try to help you find what you're looking for. And then on the right here are where the features for the team coordinators or delegates come in. So the little list next to the book, it allows you to add items to a list. And the little hand on the book is probably the most important, which, sorry, it's not circled, allows you to place a hold on that item. And then over here on the very right, there's a drop-down. This drop-down is not automatically on. You can click on that to see more information about the device. We have sometimes demonstration videos, and it allows you to see if it's available. So this is just what that more details looks like. You can see if you click on the copies, that will show you how many copies we have and which ones are available. If you are not really finding exactly what you want, or you think there might be more results, as you see this search had 100 results, click on the Find More right above that drop down and you'll see more options. And then finally, if you're a team coordinator and you've placed that hold, you can go back to the main page, which is the researcher page, by clicking that little icon in the middle, and that will take you there so you can go and complete your survey. This is what the Scout looks like. So that's that quick search that I mentioned earlier. It just kind of gives you an overview of what items match your search term, and then kind of gives you a description of them, but it doesn't allow you to place a hold or do a whole lot more. And now this is that awesome Explorer feature. So as you can see, it's broken down by different categories, and we highly recommend even just browsing through it a little bit so you can see just the kind of different things that we have available. And these categories also do get broken down even further after you click on them. Okay, does anybody, any questions?
Can I just jump in really quick?
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about the Explore feature just a little further?
Yeah, absolutely.
As you mentioned, this is library software. It really wasn't designed for, a library of assistive technology. And so we've done a lot of work to make this Explore feature work effectively, but I want everyone to know that it's not perfect. And so sometimes you might go into a category and click on it, and something really obscure pops up and you think to yourself, that is not a switch. So we know, and we do our best to try and fix those things, but know that it's not perfect. And so even though you're in AAC devices and dynamic displays, if you still don't see the device that you were hoping to see, please, please, please contact us and let us help you through that search, because again, it's just not really perfect, or at least it's not as perfect as we would like it to be. But that kind of goes back to the idea that it was really intended for books, and so we're kind of jerry-rigging it on the back side. So if it's not perfect, if you don't find what you need, please contact us.
Thank you. All right, so what happens after you place a hold? So after you place a hold on the item that you want to check out, it's really important that you fill out that item request survey. We do not fill requests that do not have that item request survey. So anything that you've requested, we do check for that survey before we send it out. And if we notice that you place a hold, but there isn't a survey, we will email you to fill it out, and we won't send it out until you do. And you can access this survey pretty easily just from that button on the main researcher page.
So Shalane, why do we have to fill out a survey?
So we are required to report data every year, and this data helps us to show not only that the loan library is being used and that it's useful, but it also helps us keep our funding that helps us get new devices and keep everything in working order. So this is just an overview of kind of the process that happens after you place that hold. So we process the requests in the order that they come in, and our items get sent out in the courier on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And whenever we send out an item, we do send you an email. That's kind of an automated email that we send out. And just take note of that day that you get that email, so that if you don't receive it by the following week, you can let us know so that we can try to track it down. And if you select to pick it up, you'll still receive an email, and we'll just give you some information of how you can come and pick it up, where to park, the times that we're here, and that you can come pick it up whenever is convenient for you. And if you don't receive an email or anything that your item wasn't sent out, that probably means that it's waitlisted or it's unavailable. Unavailable usually means it's out for repair. If that happens, please let us know and we can answer your questions. So again, the time period for checkouts is 6 weeks, 1 week for transit there, 4 weeks for trial, and 1 week for the return. We do allow for one renewal request for 2 weeks. So if you need an extension, please let us know, but we will do our best. But if that item is waitlisted, we can't grant that extension. And if the student does need it for long-term use, we do recommend that you do everything you can to try to procure that device, because like we said earlier, unfortunately, the loan library is not meant for long-term loans. And if this does happen, you come to a situation where you need to find some funding, or you just want to see if maybe somebody has it for cheaper, Assistive Technology Partners does have free database services called the AT Funder and AT Finder. The AT Funder helps you find funding sources, and the AT Finder helps you, it's kind of like a Craigslist of assistive technology. And sorry, just to be clear, with the extensions, we can only grant one extension of 2 weeks. So in order to keep our borrowers informed, we do send a waitlist email once a month to all the team coordinators. And this is to allow them to kind of get an idea of when their devices are coming available. It also reminds you to return your equipment on time, and it also helps indicate what devices are in demand and helps us decide what we're going to purchase. All right, and the final piece is returning that equipment at the end of the loan period. So when you return equipment, it's really important that you consider the following things. One, that it'll arrive at our office by the due date. So that means sending it back about 1 week before the due date, because again, sometimes things take about a week to transport them in through the courier. Number 2, if the item is clean and wrapped carefully to prevent damage during transport. We don't have control over how those boxes are transported, And so it's just really important. Angela does a great job bubble wrapping everything, and sometimes things come back, and it's just important to bubble wrap them and just try to protect it as best as you can. Third, to make sure that all the contents are included in the box, we do our best to make sure that every device that has more than about 4 or 5 pieces in it has a contents list. So please check those contents lists and compare with what you have to make sure everything is there. And finally, if there was damage to it or if it was broken, please let us know on that green slip that came in the box, or just write us a note so that we know upon return so that we can do our best to get it fixed. And then finally, once it's returned, we do send you a follow-up survey. And again, this survey is also required for our reporting data to maintain our funding. And that just helps us also know that we're doing everything we can to meet your needs. Okay, and then if you ever, again, have any questions, we're always here to help you. Please let us know. We do have a frequently asked questions on our website. If you do have a question, it might be there. But if you don't see it or you don't really find the answer you're looking for, please contact us. We're more than happy to help. We're here to serve you, and we want to make sure that we're meeting all your needs. And I think that we're done. If anybody has any questions, feel free to go ahead.
So if you joined us a little bit late, we are asking that everyone type their first and last name into the chat box if you haven't done that yet. That is our running record of attendance. So make sure you get that in there so that we can credit you with being here today.
And just to go over it, if you guys didn't see in the chat also, if you do want to come pick up equipment at our office, there is a free 20-minute parking spot on the back side of our building where all the police cars are. So you can just park there, run upstairs, pick up your stuff, and then be on your way.
I kind of want to re-stress that we are here to serve you, as Shalane said. And we really want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support your efforts. So please don't ever hesitate to call or email us. It is our job to do the research, to do the purchasing, to search around and make sure that we have what you need and that you're using the loan bank to the best of your abilities and to serve your students. No questions? And again, we want your ideas. I think some of the best purchasing that we do for the loan library comes from your ideas, the things that you're finding in the field. Send us your ideas. And don't ever hesitate to place a hold just because it's not immediately available. That's our clue to add more copies to the library.
So
if you have a change to your team coordinator, just go ahead and send us a quick email, either myself or Shalane, Angela, any one of us.
Well, thank you all for joining us today, and just don't feel free to reach out if you ever need anything or have any questions, even if you have a question about the device that you've checked out. And our devices are also available for professional development too, if you're just curious about something. So that is also an option, but We are happy to help.